Hello painters, in this video we're going to paint up the Pathfinder Deep Cuts Oxen. Alright, I've gone ahead and done a zenithal highlighting. If you don't know how to do that, you can see that in my first painting basics video. We're going to start off with a base coat of P3 Iron Hull Gray. And we're going to cover all of his body except for the hair. Paint's been thinned slightly, so it goes on nice and smooth. You use a pretty large brush for this part. Make sure and get his ears. Don't worry about getting paint on the horns. Alright, next up, I'm going to make a mix of Iron Hull Gray and Cryx Bone Highlight, both P3. And what I'm trying to do is kind of get a tone that's in between the two, so a mid-tone. Let's keep adding a little more of each color to the mix till I get to a shade somewhat in between. Now we're going to start off trying to hit the raised areas where I think the light would catch the most. So along the top, the back, big muscles sticking out on his butt. And those recessed areas right there on his side, I want to leave those dark, because that's where the shadow would be. So I'm just kind of painting around those. Going around to his chest, but I'm not going all the way down onto his belly. I'm just leaving that. Here I'm painting the top of the head, which I later realized has hair on it, or fur on it. So you don't need to highlight that part. Same thing on the other side. So anywhere where you think the light would hit. Alright, up next, we are using the straight Cryx Bane highlight, which is just a hair brighter. And now we're going to go back and hit the same areas, but not quite as much. So just the tips of those protrusions sticking out right along the spine. Don't forget the tail. His little reversed knees. Top of the back. A little bit on the sides there. Not taking it down quite as far as I did before. Nose. Above the eyes. And the cheekbone. Top of the ear. As you're painting this, it might look really bright, but we will be using a wash and that will tone it all down. Alright, now we're going to take some Menoth P3 Menoth White Highlight. Add that to the Cryx Bane Highlight. So we're going one more step even brighter. I'm adding a little bit more water to this layer because I want it really thin. At the top of the ears, same places as before. So each time we make it a little brighter, we do a little less of the areas. And there we have my mini falling off of my mini holder. On the top of the back here, I'm not drawing a line. I'm kind of doing some dashes perpendicular to the spine, line of the spine. Just keep bringing those highlights up. Notice I'm kind of making small little slashes and then smoothing it out going in the other direction. Since two of these come in a package, I would recommend that you paint them both at the same time. Just do each one, each step twice. In this video, I sort of switch back and forth between the two. Alright, next step. We got Army Painter Dark Tone Wash. That's the black colored wash. And I'm doing a 4-to-1, roughly 4-to-1 mix of that and the Army Painter Blue Tone Wash. So it gives us a nice bluish black. Mix that up. And then I'm going to add some of the Army Painter Quickshade Mixing Medium. Just 3 or 4 drops. And we'll mix all that together. The mixing medium kind of helps you make the wash easier to manipulate. It doesn't run quite like it would plain. So it gives you a little more working time. It helps keep the wash from making coffee stains in the flatter areas. And since most of what we're washing here is flat, it's pretty helpful. Not necessary. You just have to be more careful if you don't use it. I'm going over all the gray and then kind of wiping away where it needs to be showing the highlights. Alright, let that dry completely. We're going to move on to the fur. So this is Vallejo Model Air Burnt Umber. Cover all that fur on his back. And the top of the head. Alright, now we're going to use Menoth white base to do the horns. P3 Menoth white base. And this will take 2, maybe 3 coats. Now I've got some Citadel Agrax Earthshade wash. And we're going to use that on like the top 2/3 or 3/4 of the horn, but we want to leave some of the Menoth white base showing closest to his head. Just make sure and don't let any of it pool up. Now we've got some scale 75 black leather, one of my favorite colors. It's almost a purplish black. And so we're going to go about halfway down what we just did. So there should be the white showing, then where the wash showed, and then into the black leather. There we have that. Next we've got some P3 Rucksack Tan. Put some on our brush and wipe most of it off with a paper towel. And we're going to dry brush the hair. I should also mention, I realized later that the end of the tail has a hairy spot, which you should paint exactly like this hair here. There's that. Now we've got some Vallejo model color Ivory using a fine tip brush. Just going to put one little dot on each eye in the upper corner. And finally, some Army Painter dark tone again. And we're just going to go over his muzzle to darken it up a little bit. And there we have it. If you'd like to know how I did the basing, that was done in my simple basing video. If you like the video, please make sure and like. And if you'd like to see more, hit the subscribe button. Also, you can check me out on the Devious Dungeons Denizens Facebook page, where you can ask me questions and post pictures of what you've painted. Thanks a lot, and hope to see you next time.